Welcome to the Prime Health Podcast with your host, Dr. Derek Barron. Dr. Barron interviews doctors, wellness experts, and healthcare leaders who are revolutionizing how we approach health and longevity. The Prime Health Podcast explores breakthrough science, personal and patient stories, and practical insights that are shaping the future of health and wellness. So sit back, listen in, and prepare to transform how you think about your path towards Prime Health with Dr. Barron and his special guest.
Hello, my name is Dr. Derek Barron, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Prime Health Podcast. We interview doctors, nurses, wellness experts, and healthcare leaders who are revolutionizing how we approach health and longevity. Today's guest is going to bring a unique story into that as well. We explore breakthrough science, personal and patient stories, and practical insights that are shaping the future of health and wellness. Before we get into today's episode, a quick note from our sponsor. This episode of Prime Health Podcast is brought to you by Grow Solutions, growth partners for busy health and wellness professionals. So does this sound like you and your business, what your biggest headaches are? Whether you need leads or opportunities, they're never consistent. The tech and AI is becoming overwhelming, or your business operations are eating up your time. Here's what changes with that when you work with Grow Solutions. Fresh, qualified leads and opportunities hit your inbox every day. No more feast or famine. One simple platform that runs your marketing and follow-up. No duct tape. It helps you control your business. And we offer you clear playbooks, frameworks, and automations that cut through the busy work so you can enjoy your life. Many clients say the same things before we always start. I'm too busy to grow, too slow to scale, and too overwhelmed to fix it. So if that sounds like you, feel free to send me a DM here on LinkedIn or send me a message. But let's get to the important part of this episode. I want to bring you the star of the show today. So I'm pleased to introduce to you Dr. Ari Gargir. Dr. Gargir holds a PhD in microbiology and a master's in science in biotechnology from Tel Aviv University, is an alumnus of the International Space University. He's also a veteran, so we thank him for that service as well. With 25 years of experience in biotechnology, he has led R&D teams and pioneered product development from idea to the market in the field of diagnostic tools in glycomics, bioseparation, pharma, and medical devices, several startup companies and global corporations such as Thermo Fisher, and Mitsubishi Tanabe Pharma. Following a transformative personal experience which he'll go through, Dr. Gargir founded Red Sea Biotech to enable unlimited universal donor-free human red blood cells for life-saving transfusions and therapeutic applications. He is dedicated to creating innovative blood products that address global shortages, save lives, and hold a significant commercial potential. So Dr. Gargir, welcome to the Prime Health Podcast.
Thank you for the introduction, Dr. Derek Barron. Great to be here.
Excellent. Pleasure to have you. So from your bio and the research that I've done, you're passionate about your work, but there was a specific moment that kind of put you on this path with Red Sea Biotech. Do you mind sharing that with us?
Actually, 2 points. One which you could say sparked my interest in blood. And then actually when I understood that I could perhaps offer a solution. So back maybe more than 35 years ago, I was fresh out of the army. I was doing my bachelor's degree in biology in the Tel Aviv University. I was a paratrooper, and I was a bit of an adrenaline junkie, you could say, and I was trying skydiving, and I hated that. I hated leaving the airplane. I tried paragliding, and it turned out that I was a terrible pilot. And in one of my flights on the Golan Heights, I crashed. And I suffered severe lung damage. I punctured both of my lungs. Ooh. I had what's called a double pneumothorax, lost a lot of blood. I had to be, first of all, extracted out off of a cliff.
Oh my!
And had field surgery where my lungs were reinflated, and a blood transfusion saved my life. And at a certain point, I was flying in I was flying in a helicopter from where I was wounded to the hospital, and as I was checking myself, I suddenly found that there's a big tube that was leading to a blood transfusion. And that was back in 1989, and I was scared that it wasn't tested for HIV. And I
Okay.
asked the doctor, was it tested? And he said, yeah. And I calmed down and passed out again and woke up in the hospital. But I started getting interested in blood transfusions and the supply and the challenges. And that actually brought a long interest, but without actually doing anything. And many years later, as I was scouting for a company that I was working for, I came across a technology in the Technion. It's like Israel's MIT.
Okay.
And I learned about a stem cell cultivation technology that allows to scale up the stem cell production almost indefinitely. And after incubating on the idea, I suddenly understood we could produce red blood cells. So it's not as simple as that, but ever since I've been working on licensing the technology, raising money, and we're in the lab in Red Sea Biotech actually since 2019 or so, and we're developing a process to manufacture or enable unlimited amounts of red blood cells, universal and donor-free, and we'll explain all of that.
Okay. What a story. Unfortunately, you had to go through some pain to maybe find some of the passion that you lived in, but oftentimes it's well worth it. I'm glad that you turned out to be okay and you made it through with the transfusions. That's important. All right, Ari, I think probably one of the most important questions that we have to ask is about the how. So how is this that you are creating with Red Sea Biotech, that you are creating red blood cells in your process to be able to be used in these areas or the individuals that may need them?
Right. So first of all, it's cultivation. It's a well-known biotechnology practice. It's a lot like what you may hear with cultivated meat, where you take a stem cell, and you grow it, you multiply it, you proliferate these cells, and you create your product. When you work with stem cells, stem cells are very unique for different reasons. But when you work with stem cells, there's a process that's called differentiation.
Okay.
Stem cells have two very important capabilities. The first is that they could multiply and proliferate forever. Okay, the best stem cell ever is a fertilized egg. But of course, we're not using embryonic stem cells. We're not using fertilized eggs. We're using a type of stem cells that's called induced pluripotent stem cells, or for short IPS. And the reason I'm saying that is because they're very special. They are the source from where they are taken is from an adult donor, okay, a person who's given a sample out of full consent. And it enables us to choose a person with the exact right characteristic of blood that we want, and which means that we are in a process of seeking people that are universal donors, not only O negative, but negative to additional factors, making their blood ideal. And what we do is take some of their white blood cells, which have a nucleus. Red blood cells don't have a nucleus, they cannot grow. They're not, you could say, not regenerative, but white blood cells can. And we do a process that's called reprogram. It's a well-known process invented by a Japanese researcher called Yamanaka in the Kyoto University. He even got the Nobel Prize for that in 2006. And this process enables to take an adult cell that has already committed itself to being a blood cell or a skin cell or a muscle, and reprogram it and turn it back to be a stem cell that can multiply forever and also produce and differentiate to the product that you tell. So that's the source of the stem cells, and the how we can produce universal red blood cells, blood that will fit everybody without testing. How you actually manufacture them. These stem cells and the technology that we're utilizing, what's special about it is that we can grow these stem cells as single cells in suspension. Therefore, we can grow them in a bioreactor and scale up almost indefinitely. And we utilize serum-free or animal-free, what's chemically defined growth media, which means that it will be also very low in cost. And on the other hand, clean of pathogens and clean of all residual blood components. In a process where we take these stem cells, these specially treated stem cells, we grow them, we seed them in a bioreactor, and we give them the different factors along the way which command these cells to differentiate. So they have to go, when a stem cell differentiates, it goes through all of the development stages that a red blood cell would go in our body. So we have stem cells in our bone marrow. And these stem cells differentiate to be hematopoietic stem cells, stem cells that are committed to be blood cells. And eventually, when these cells meet a factor called erythropoietin, they commit to become red blood cells. And then these cells begin to differentiate and turn into mature red blood cells. In the end, these cells grow or synthesize a lot of hemoglobin. They enucleate, they eject the nucleus out of the cell and become mature red blood cells. So this process takes about a month, and we're trying to imitate in the lab, in the bioreactor, what happens in our body so naturally.
All right.
In the end, the cells are harvested, washed, tested, packed, and will be one day they'll be sent to the hospitals to save people.
Sounds like a difficult process to go through, but so rewarding in the end, for sure. So the purpose behind Red Sea Biotech, and your mission, it's very unique in what you're doing it. So kind of prior to we started this, you spoke about where there are blood deserts. So if you could, I live in the state of Idaho here in the United States. We talked a little bit, how is that unique to your mission of how you can help somebody in that situation?
Right. So when we talk about blood supply, we first of all have to separate between higher income countries and lower income regions, where you have let's say equipped and highly trained blood donation agencies that can supply blood. And the United States, for example, Israel, a lot of the Western world, you have very capable blood donation agencies that are able to, most of the time, make sure that all hospitals or disaster relief agencies or military organizations have enough blood so that people will not die from blood loss. So that is all true, and it's even more true in urban areas. But in some places, even in the United States, you have more rural areas. You have places where the ability to bring a person who suffers injury for any reason, not only from accidents or gunshot wounds, it could be in labor. So not all the time you're in an area where you have either enough blood or the right blood type available for that person. So those areas where it's hard to supply to the people at the end the blood they need to save their lives are called blood deserts. From a moment you're wounded, there's it's called the golden hour, but every moment that passes, that from blood loss, your chances to survive decrease. And you want to be as close as possible to a blood unit if you need it.
Okay, so if we ask the question, what is the blood for? So we can, what is the blood for? So if we look at it from whether it's here in Idaho and some situation arises, or on, the front lines of a war that's taking place, what you're saying is that golden hour is there, which is golden minutes. Truly, it's better if it's there, so your company can come in and fill that need sooner.
Not specifically, but you have to have the infrastructure and you have to have the blood at the points.
Okay.
But perhaps you would like to go into what is the blood actually for? What is it?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm talking, when I say blood, blood is a very complex liquid in our veins. It consists of plasma, it consists of red blood cells, about half in volume. We also have white blood cells in there. We have platelets that contribute to coagulation and blood clotting. But specifically for me, blood, I'm talking about red blood cells, which are the fraction in the blood that carries oxygen. The rest of the components, like the plasma, has antibodies. It carries nutrition, etc. The liquid in our blood has many roles, but the red blood cells have a specific role. Their job is to go to our lungs, bind oxygen, go to our brains and tissue, release the oxygen, and carry out carbon dioxide. That's what they're the oxygen carrying capacity of our body. They have the mechanism between the red blood cell allows them to scavenge other materials as well, but their main job is to do the oxygen and carbon dioxide cycle. We have about 5 liters of blood in our body. Every red blood cell is produced in our bone marrow. They survive about 120 days in our system, and in order to save lives, in the hospital they could give sometimes plasma, would like to give platelets, but in most of the treatments they would also give red blood cells. And red blood cell transfusions are needed, you could say, in any department in a hospital. We're talking about trauma, people that lost blood in accidents, for example, and need blood, in surgery, where there's blood loss, in childbirth. The numbers are staggering. About 200,000 women die every year in labor in childbirth from blood loss. Also, sometimes the newborns are born anemic and require blood transfusions. These are all of the times where blood is given in emergency or immediately. There are many other uses for red blood cell transfusions, or packed red blood cell transfusions, when it's for a condition that's called anemia. Anemia is the lack of red blood cells, and we're talking about people that have hereditary anemia like sickle cell disease, thalassemia, Fanconi, etc., but also people that get anemic because of nutrition reasons, sure. Other diseases that cause anemia. And then, of course, you have cancer. Cancer in high-income regions is a big blood guzzler, you could say. About 20 to 25% of blood transfusions go to oncogenic patients, either because leukemia that causes problems in the blood production, or the treatments. Chemotherapy, radiation can also impair blood production, and they will also need blood. So blood is needed in all of these cases, and the only way of bringing blood to patients is from blood donation.
Yeah.
So,
I'd
no
like
matter
to.
what I say, blood donations are still extremely important.
So that's a great point that you bring up, Ari. And so help our viewers and listeners understand. So in a hospital, there's blood banks, people go and donate. But where is it that you can see how Red Sea Biotech can assist in that? What makes you different than the blood bank process?
Right. So first of all, the blood that we're going to manufacture will be universal blood, meaning one blood type fits all. Blood has different blood types. We all know the ABO blood group.
Right.
We know that O will fit most people. There's the other RHD group that gives the positive and negative. So if we're talking about universal blood, it means that it's O negative. O negative blood type will fit everybody. A person who has A type cannot give to a person with B. A person with B cannot give to A. A person with O can give to almost everybody, but O negative can give to everybody. Beyond that, there are additional nuances that are dependent on the ethnic reasons, and because there are about 350 variants to the different blood types, 35 markers, 350 variants. So there are additional nuances to an O negative blood type. So the blood we're going to manufacture will be universal, will fit everyone with minimum testing. Because the production will be in bioreactors under very controlled conditions, there will be no pathogens. Okay, each blood unit that is donated is tested for 7 or 8 pathogens at a time, from HIV and hepatitis, etc. And the blood type is taken. So first of all, these tests are costly, and also they're personal. Every blood unit is tested. So for us, a whole batch, a whole bioreactor will need to pass the quality testing, but it will be without pathogens and without residual blood components. A lot of the side reactions that people may have, other than mistyping the blood type, okay, if people by accident got an O positive instead of an O negative, they may have a reaction. So there are sometimes responses because of mistyping. There are sometimes responses because of residual blood components, white blood cells. These are cells that their job is to initiate immune responses.
Right.
These kinds of, this is usually what would activate a person that has all kinds of immune problems. So the blood that we'll manufacture will have no blood components and therefore not have any side effects. Minimum testing, and the most important thing, the quality, that each red blood cell unit will be the same as the next, but the most important thing is to be independent of donors. Donors are good people. They're the best people.
Right.
The whole thing that they want to do is save people's lives. They're altruistic.
Right.
And people do it because they really believe that they're helping. But the donors are not always there. You may have bad weather. In Idaho, you may be snowed in and you can't go to donate. Here in Israel, you may have some other kind occurrences that may make it harder to go and donate blood. Holidays. So that happens when you have big holidays. There's usually a blood shortage either before or after. So all of these things that happen cause sometimes short blood shortages, sometimes longer ones. In the summer, you'll probably hear the Red Cross calling people to come and donate blood maybe in a few weeks.
Yeah,
because the summer vacation is there, everybody's out on trips, and they can't come to donate. So the people, the donors, even though they're the most important part of the blood donation, they're the weakest part of the equation, and we're going to eliminate them. Not because they're not, we don't want them, but because it will make the product will actually be an off-the-shelf product. It will be like all the rest of the pharmaceuticals that you would have in your local CVS, for example, and be available for everybody, everywhere, when they need it.
So thank you for sharing that. I can see the need for it more and more, how you break down those components. Like here in Idaho, where we're at in Coeur d'Alene, our summertime is the community doubles, if not triples in size. So if something were to happen, we have our forest fires in this area. If something were to happen, is there enough need for that? So from a market size perspective, where do you see Red Sea Biotech fitting in? I understand, and it's not competition, as you said, the blood banks, but where do you see it working concurrently with them?
Right. So right now, of course, we cannot compete. The idea is one day to minimize the need for blood donors and actually replace the need for donors. Mostly because I believe that the product that we'll supply will be a better product. Okay. But if we look at the market itself, every year about 120 million blood units are donated. And about 60% of them are in high-income countries, 40% of them, and they go to a smaller fraction of humanity. So there's still a very large amount of people that don't have blood. I think the word is equity.
Sure.
And they don't have blood available for the time when they need it. They calculate about 100 million blood units in shortage.
Oh, wow.
And so the idea is that gradually, as we meet the market, the capacity to produce will grow. We don't believe that one factory can produce blood for all humanity. First of all, the blood will be produced in factories, in bioreactors. You'll have a farm of bioreactors where the blood will be grown. You could imagine that in one of the bioreactors, the cells will be seeded, and in some of them they will be harvested about a month later. That's about the time that it takes to grow the stem cells into red blood cells. And these factories will not be in one place. They will be all across. You'll have a few of them in every country. Imagine you'll have a few of them in the United States, in a logistical distance from hospitals. So you could supply maybe on a weekly basis the amount of blood that this area or this region demands. And of course, the blood will be manufactured under the local regulatory system and also perhaps fit to a greater extent the ethnicity of the people in that area. So that's the intention. That's the vision. Okay. We will not, as the capacity will grow, we'll be able to, at the beginning, help the blood donation agencies and make sure that they don't have shortages, and in time also replace the need for donors. And when we have enough, and of course, when it's profitable enough, we'll be able to supply to those places where there's really deep need in blood.
Okay. In the vision that you're putting together, Ari, where do you feel you are from today to where where you can finally see it taking place?
Yeah, the optimistic view is about 5 years to be able to reach the market after clinical testing. We'll have to go through clinical testing. It's a new product. It's a required product, but it will still have to go through the whole stages, all the stages of clinical testing. We're planning to reach preclinical testing in about 2 years and clinical testing in about 3 years. So that gives about 5 years to reach market at a smaller scale.
Okay. So how the viewers or the listeners, how do I want to say this? How do they have the ability of helping you reach that vision sooner? Like how is it that you see the community at whole? Because I think we can all understand there's a need for this, especially after you explain it, from the blood deserts to wartime issues that are taking place, to incidents that may happen spring or summer, fall, the changes in the seasons, why it's there. But how is it that you're looking for external resources to help you create this vision even sooner?
Yeah, so there are different kinds of resources which I'm trying to tap. One of them, for example, is government funding, which is slow, very slow. It takes time to establish it. It gets time to reach the amounts that you need. So I'm applying to different sources, both in Israel, the United States. I'm constantly seeking investments. You know, biotechnology development is costly.
Yeah.
A lot of it is the equipment, laboratories, materials. It's costly, so I'm always looking for investments. I've done a few rounds. I did some angel investing. I did a crowd investment, used a crowd investment platform. Right now I'm doing a kind of a safe round, seeking people that are not big investors, but mid-sized kind of investors. So that's something that I'm always in the look for, people that are that I think could very easily understand the humanitarian and the big unmet need that there is in the world on one side, but could also understand that this is a very big business or a financial potential. Because if we look at the blood donation industry today, it's about $20 billion a year. But if we calculate what is in the shortage, what the actual need is, and the amount of testing and side effect treatments that we're going to be eliminating, so you could look at a market potential which is about $50 billion a year. So it's on one side a very important humanitarian side, also with a lot of chances for a good financial return.
Okay. So
my dog back there, scratching on the door.
So if there are people that are interested in what you've had to share so far, which it's been a great pleasure for me to learn, if they want to learn more about you personally, Ari, or from Red Sea Biotech, how can they learn more about you?
Well, first of all, they could connect with me on Facebook or LinkedIn. And of course, we can also publish my email address. And if people want to write and connect, I'll be happy. I actually love talking with people and learning about their experiences and how they view the blood supply. And I love telling the story also.
Yeah. Well, I definitely have learned from this conversation. I appreciate it. So I want to thank Dr. Gargir for his time today and for sharing your insights and expertise with us. Your unique perspective, which, again, as I said, helped me learn from the blood deserts. Didn't necessarily think about that. It makes so much sense, to being on the frontline places where people need those services. We shared personal stories about people we know could have benefited from this process. So I hope that the vision is not 5 years. I hope it's, shorter than that. So if people are interested in helping, of course, we'll share your contact information in the show notes below. So for our listeners, if you found today's conversation valuable, please subscribe to the Prime Health Podcast. Share this, because if it was valuable to you, we need other people to hear about this, learn the vision behind Ari and his organization, Red Sea Biotech, and get this in front of more people so they can also share in that mission as well. So we'll be back with another episode where we share another healthcare innovator that's looking to change lives and improve cutting edge treatments like Ari is doing. So until next time, stay at the forefront of your wellness journey. And for your practitioner friends, remember, the best time to optimize both your business and your personal longevity is today. So thank you again for your time, Ari. I do appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Derek. It was a pleasure.